Alright, today we're going to be doing a quick review of this Dewalt DXGNR 7000 watt commercial grade generator. Now, I'm mainly using it as a backup supplemental power supply for when we lose power to the home, and it's proven to be more than sufficient every time I've needed it, so I thought I would do a quick review. Maybe it'll help some other people out. Okay, let's take a quick look at the features, then we'll start it up, see how it runs. Alright, starting at the top here, it's got a 7.5 gallon metal fuel tank, which is something I really like. Now DeWalt estimates that the generator should run approximately 10.5 hours on a full tank of fuel running at 50% load. Now I've run my house off this a couple of times with a lot of appliances running, TVs and so forth, and I can tell you that it doesn't typically run at 50% unless my well pump kicks on, and then it spikes up, of course. It's got a standard L14 30 amp outlet here that can run at 120 or 240 volts. Each leg has its own 30 amp circuit breaker. It's got an idle down control, which is a feature that I really liked and one of the reasons why I bought this generator. And we'll check that out once we start it up. It's got electric start here as well. And it's got a charging port for the electric start battery. Now it's important to note that the battery does not charge when the generator is running. You do need to plug it in. It's got 4 20 amp GFCI outlets, each with its own 20 amp circuit breaker. It's got a wattage meter here to tell you how much you're drawing on the generator. And then it's got a runtime meter, which provides information on approximately how long the generator should run, given the load and the amount of fuel in the tank. And on initial startup, it also shows how many hours the generator has been run, so it helps you keep track of the maintenance intervals, okay? So what we're going to do is check out a few more features here, and then we'll start it up, and we'll show you this idle down control, and we'll run something off it. Alright, so something I want to point out is that Generac either had a hand in making this generator or they make it for DeWalt, so that's important to note. Everything is easy to get to. You can check and add oil easily. Your battery is right here. It's easy to remove if you need to. Alright, the generator frame is constructed of 1.25" steel tubing, and this retractable handle is included along with the wheels. And although the generator has some weight to it, it's not bad to move around because it's got a good balance point. It's got a manual recoil starter right here in case your electric start isn't working for you. Fuel shutoff is right here. It's got a fuel filter here. The choke mechanism is here. And this is a large oversized air cleaner. So this is going to be easy to maintain, and I'll be sure to post videos on those procedures once I begin them. Alright, on the back side here, I'm just going to point out how easy it is to access the carburetor should we need to remove that and clean it. And I do have a video out there right now on removing and cleaning a Generac carburetor. Got an overhead valve that's easy to access, and we have to adjust the valves at 50 hours. It's got a large oversized spark arrestor and muffler, and I can tell you that makes a significant difference on the decibel level over some of the generators that I've run in the past. And this is where the exhaust exits the muffler. And you can see I have some tape here on the frame. I have a gen tent for this generator, and I removed the mounting arms for the gen tent. If you're not familiar with what a gen tent is, I'm going to post another video on the installation and functionality of a gen tent, so stay tuned for that one. Alright, at this point I'm going to go ahead and start the generator. Now keep in mind that I may have to overdub during video editing, so I may have to reduce the volume of the generator during that process. Keep an eye on this runtime meter because initially it's going to show how many hours I've run the generator, which should be about 14. Alright?
At this point, the generator is trying to determine how long it will be able to run given the current load and the amount of fuel that it has in the tank. I've found that this number will fluctuate quite often, especially when a household is plugged into the generator. Keep in mind that the generator should be on level ground in order for it to provide an accurate estimate. When the fuel level gets low, it'll actually display LO, low, on the readout. You'll notice that when the engine idles down using the idle control, the hour meter does not automatically recalculate. Something needs to draw on it in order for that calculation to happen, and you'll see that when I plug a circular saw into an outlet. Alright, you'll note that the runtime meter now shows 23 hours, and I did not add additional fuel to it. It could be because it's now warmed up. Looking at the GFCI outlets, you'll see that there's a green LED on each of them, along with a test button and a reset button. Most people are familiar with GFCI outlets. You see them in your bathroom and your kitchen, and GFCI stands for Ground Fault Circuit Interrupt, and it provides an additional measure of protection against electrocution or shock. At this point, I have the idle control enabled and I've run the saw a few times, so the runtime meter has been calculated to 26 hours. With the saw full on, we're showing just over 14 hours of runtime. You'll notice that when I release the trigger on the saw, the generator then again calculates 26 hours, so I'm assuming that this is going to be relatively accurate. Note that when I start the saw, there's a surge or an initial spike in the wattage meter, and that's true of most electric motors. This 7,000 watt generator actually has a surge capacity of 8,750 watts. Hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, be sure to give me that thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Keep your eye open for that Gen 10 video, and leave questions and comments below. Have fun.